two data engineers, both with 3 years of experience, both applying for similar jobs. One is getting interview calls every single week, the other can't even pass the first round. Same skill on paper but different outcome. And the reason is not the luck, college or connection. It is that one of them is learning the data engineering old way, using the old technology and the stack, and the other person has adapted the changes that are coming in the market. Because in 2026, the playbook has changed, and if you haven't noticed that, you are already falling behind. So in this video, we will talk about what is dead, what has changed, and how you can always stay on the edge of data engineering by following the latest trend. At the near end of this video, I will tell you the one skill that 90% of data engineers still don't have. This is the skill that separates the data engineers who thrive in 2026 compared to people who are still falling behind. So take a pen and paper, start taking notes, because this video is going to be fully value packed. Let's get started. Before actually starting with the different points, let me give you the quick context of why you should listen to me. I've been working as a data engineer for last 6 to 7 years. I'm teaching data engineering from last 4 years. I run courses, I talk to a lot of different students, and I understand what is going on around the industry. So number one on the list is ETL as the default approach is dead. Let me explain what I mean. So for the last 15 years, we've been doing ETL, right? Extract, transform, load. We extract data from multiple different sources like APIs, web analytics, sensors. Then we use tools like Apache Spark or Hadoop to transform all of this data, and then we load this data to a data warehouse like Teradata, Hive, or Redshift, right? So this is what we have been doing till now. The reason for doing ETL was that we had the limited compute power on data warehouse and also the storage. So what we had to do, we had to clean and process our data before loading them onto the data warehouse. Like we had to make sure our data is in structured format so that once we load data onto the data warehouse, we can just run the analytics query on top of it. Now this is how we used to do traditional way. But most of the new data warehouses that are coming in the market, such as Snowflake, Databricks, BigQuery, does not have all of this limitation. They have the compute power, they have the storage, and they can support structured, unstructured, semi-structured data directly on data warehouse, and you can directly start writing SQL queries on top of it. So you don't really need the transformation layer in between. So what has changed is that we moved from traditional ETL to something called as ELT, extract, load and transform. So in this case, we extract the data and we directly load it onto the data warehouse, because these data warehouse has the capability to manage massive amount of data, whether it is structured, unstructured, semi-structured, doesn't matter. You can manage all of these data at one place. So what company thought, right? Instead of spending so much time transforming our data, why don't we directly load this data onto the data warehouse and then do our processing as per our requirement? And this is where the ELT comes into the picture. And with the ELT, there was one tool that took market by storm, and the tool was DBT, the data build tool. This is one of the most important tools you need to learn. Again, you can learn Apache Spark. This is the foundation tool, and this is how we process large scale of data if you're still going with the traditional approach. So you need to know Apache Spark. I'm not saying that you should throw away the ETL, but the companies, the new companies, the modern data companies are adapting the ELT approach because it makes more sense. So here's the thing, the default way of doing ETL is sort of dead, right? No one wants to go with that route. The modern companies are going towards the ELT approach, and for that, all you need to do is you need to understand the new data warehouses, and the second thing, you need to master DBT, right? You pick any job role available in the market and you will see out of 10, okay, 7 will have DBT in them, because most of the companies are running on DBT these days. And if you want to learn, again, I have a free video available on my YouTube channel. You can watch it. This video will give you complete understanding about DBT, and you will complete one single project and have it on your portfolio. So this is one of the thing is dying, is the ETL is going away. It will not completely go away. It will take a lot of time because companies are still running on ETL. The migration is quite difficult from ETL to ELT, but this is where the trends are shifting. So all you need to do is just adapt to these new trends, understand ELT, learn about the warehouses that are coming in the market, and learn DBT. That will help you to stay updated with the market. Number 2 on the list we have is the data warehouse only architecture are dying. Now for the long time, the conversation in data engineering was about whether we should use the data warehouse because we want the structured data for analytics, or we should go with the data lake because we get the more flexibility of choosing the data that we want to use. So here is what's happening in 2026. Neither side is winning. Both are losing to something called as lakehouse architecture with open table format. I have the detailed video about the open table format on my channel, but let me give it a quick summary. Open table formats like Apache Iceberg, Delta Lake, Apache Hudi gives you the flexibility of Delta Lake and guarantees of warehouses such as asset transactions, schema evaluation, time travel, all of these on top of the direct object storage such as S3. Netflix built Iceberg because their warehouse couldn't handle the scale. Databricks built the Delta Lake, Uber built Hudi. If you're learning data engineering in 2026, make sure you also focus on learning the open table format. Understand that, because if you're still learning about the old old things such as data warehouse, data lake, and if you're not focusing on these open table formats, then you're already falling behind. So what you should do, just pick up one open table format. I'll say start with the Apache Iceberg. I have the video available on my channel. I also have some tutorials on my website. If you want, you can start from there, but you can find resources from anywhere. The reason Apache Iceberg is because it is open source. Most of the companies are using it, like Snowflake, BigQuery has a direct support to it. So you can start learning about it and increase your chances to get higher. So if you're still watching this video, then don't forget to hit the like button of this video. This keeps me motivated to create more and more this type of content. Number 3 on the list is just learn AWS by default is no longer the right answer. So let me be honest about it, right? AWS was the first cloud that I learned in 2016. I used to tell everyone, because the reason I learned AWS on the first place and the AWS was the market leader, I used to tell everyone to learn AWS because it is the cloud that I also learned and it was a market leader. But in 2026, the clouds are divided into the 3 different buckets usually. There are like a specific company that uses AWS, there are specific type of companies that are on Azure, and there are specific type of company that uses GCP. So let me just give you that distinction and also tell you like what you should do about it. Azure is mainly dominating the enterprise data engineering space. A lot of consultancies are moving the data bubblers to Azure because Microsoft ecosystem, you get Office 365, Teams, Active Directory. So if you're in India, most of the companies you will see, the big companies like consulting companies are using Azure. So learning Azure is a good starting point if you want to work in the banks or the corporate companies. Like large companies usually use Azure because they already have Microsoft suite available, so it easily integrates with the most of the services. So this is the Azure stand. Now we have AWS and GCP. So most of the startups that I've seen usually are either on AWS or GCP. Most of them are available on AWS, such as Zomato, you have Dream11, you have Grid. All of these use AWS as the core, and then there are companies who value the machine learning or AI related services are usually on GCP. So the learning approach of learning cloud should be based on the goal that you are going, right? If you want to target a specific type of company such as startup, or if you want to work there, learning AWS is a good choice. But if you are targeting like big enterprises, then having Azure in your skill set is a good option. So if you have the confusion that which cloud should I learn first, just go out and research about the companies that you want to work for. Let's say if you want to work for Credit, learning AWS is a good choice. If you want to work for, let's say, JP Morgan, just check onto that job description and see what cloud platform they are using and add that in your skill set, and it's a good starting point. But if you still want, okay, you can just start with the one cloud. You don't have to master all of the cloud at the one moment, but the default approach should be based on the research, like what do you want to do, where do you want to work. If you don't have the answer about that also, just pick one cloud, because once you learn one cloud, it will be easier to switch to all of the other clouds. All of these 3 clouds, such as AWS, Azure and GCP, are the market leaders. Even if you learn any of the cloud from these 3 options, you are in a safe zone. Don't by default go with Azure or AWS because someone said that okay, you should learn this. Based on your goals, focus on one cloud. And if you don't have that specific goal, just create a goal around that, right? I want to work in Google, I should learn GCP. I want to work in, let's say, Cred or Zomato, I should learn this cloud because they are on this. Number 4 on the list is going to hurt little bit, but this is the reality now. Writing code or doing things manually is dead. Everyone is going with the AI assisted code generation or doing things. Let me explain this in a little bit detailed way so that you get more clarity, because this is one of the point that is shifting and most of the people are still not adapting this part. In data engineering, we have few things, right? We write the transformation job, we build the pipeline. These process used to take 3 to 4 hours depending on the complexity of the work. Now all of these things can be easily done under 30 minutes if you know what to do, right? What to generate. So you can easily generate SQL code, you can easily write Spark script, you can write Python script, you can build Apache Airflow DAX. All of these things can be easily built with single prompt. So this is dead, right? Writing code manually is completely dead. Even if you check the software engineering ecosystem, if you are active on Twitter, you will know that most of the people don't even write code. Even big tech companies are moving more towards the agentic AI, where the AI writes a lot of code and you just assist with that and see if it makes sense or not. This part is dead. What is alive is knowing what to do, and this is very important thing, right? You can create a pipeline, but if you don't know why you are creating this pipeline on the first place, if you don't know what is the final outcome, then it is not going to be valuable. We all know that the goal of data project is to create value for the businesses, right? Businesses should be able to extract some value out of it. It can be increasing revenue, understanding the customers, anything. That is the final goal. So if you are creating a pipeline, if you are writing a SQL script that is not going towards that goal, then you are just wasting time. So AI can write a code, AI can generate all the script, but if you don't know the final outcome, if it is not creating a value, then it is totally useless. And that mindset comes from understanding the businesses. So as a data engineer, your goal should be to understand the domain and then then generate the right code as per that. Now again, you will not be writing code manually. Yes, you will need to understand SQL. Yes, you will need to understand Python. You need to understand the foundation level. That is not going anywhere, right? If you don't understand and if you still generate a PySpark code, it might work. But if you don't have understanding about this and if AI generates the garbage, then you won't be able to catch that, right? So generation is automated, but having the right understanding is still there. So if you're still writing SQL script or PySpark script by yourself, start using AI here, like use Claude, use ChatGPT, use a Copilot, whatever AI tool that you're comfortable with, go and start using that in your workflow because this will increase your productivity 100x. So there are two things you should mainly focus on. One is learning the AI tools like Claude, ChatGPT, or the inbuilt tool of Databricks that gives you AI assisted code generation. All of these things you should master. And the second thing is focus on your foundation because SQL is still going to be here, Python is still going to be here. AI will help you generate the code for that, but these foundations are still help you to be the master of it. Okay, so master the AI, don't fear the AI, be the person who uses AI to deliver the work faster. Okay, AI is not going to replace data engineers, but AI will replace slow data engineers. So you don't be the slow data engineers, and if you want to be a fast data engineers, just start using these tools and you will start mastering them. Number 5 on the list is learning 50 tools to become a data engineer mindset is dead. This is a continuation from the 4th point, right? A lot of people spend time learning every orchestration tool or every transformation tool available in the market. Tools keep coming, right? I used to say this before also, like tools will come every 6 months, they will die, new tools will come, solve different problem, and they will die again. The foundation is what stays, right? So here's what you need to do. You have to learn SQL, you have to learn Python. One tool for orchestration, you can use Airflow. One tool for transformation, you can use Apache Spark. One for streaming, such as Apache Kafka. One data warehouse, let's say Snowflake. That's it. And one cloud platform, such as AWS GCP, that we already talked about. If you have these skill set, you are in already good place and you are ahead of the 90% of the data engineer, because most of the people don't even know. What they try to do is that they try to learn everything. If I want to learn Python, I will try to learn everything about Python. If I want to learn SQL, I will learn every single keyword about the SQL. You don't have to do that. You just need to know how to get the work done and you are good. Okay, if you know that, if you can create the final value, no one cares if you know 50 different tools or 100 different tools. At the end of the day, if your foundations are strong, then you will be ahead of everyone. Okay, this is the one mindset you should always keep your foundation strong. Avoid all of the noises that is happening in the market. Okay, this is getting automated, this is dying. That's totally okay. Don't run behind the 50 different tools. Just stick to the foundations and you are irreplaceable. Now at the start of the video, I told you that I will talk about one skill that separates average data engineer from the top data engineer, and that one skill is communication with business stakeholders. I know you might be expecting some secret or magic pill to give you to become a master of data engineer, but this is the one skill, right? I've seen across the market that communication with business stakeholder is what separates from junior engineer to a senior engineer. In 2026, right, the gap between the junior engineer and senior engineer is already dead because AI can write any code, AI can assist you with different things. So finding the right answer is easier, but what separates is the communication, right? But the real gap remains is, can you sit with the business person, understand what they actually need, translate it into the data problem, and explain your solution in the simple language that they understand? Most data engineers can't do this. They can build a complex data pipeline, they can build a Kafka stream. All of these things can be done, right? They can easily do that. But when it comes to communication with the business stakeholders, making them understand what you're doing, making them understand how we can use all of these things to build an actual value, is where everyone struggles. So what you should do in this case, right? When you work on a project, don't just think about technology. Think about who is going to use this, what decisions will they make with this data, what happens if the pipeline fails. Start explaining technology to non-tech people. And if you want to do this, you can start writing blogs, you can write posts on LinkedIn, X. Just share your learnings in simple way, and this will help you to break down the complex topic of technology and explain this in simple way to the non-tech people. So throughout the video, we talked about what are the things that are dying, right? We talked about ETL is sort of dead, code generation or writing code manually is dead, choosing one cloud provider is sort of not a good idea, data warehouse or data lake, the debate between that is also dying. So what is staying, right? What is still here? Like if all of these things are changing or sort of dying, what is still here? Again, SQL is still one of the most important skill and will be the most important skill in 2020-30 also. Python is still here. Apache Spark still dominates the market. Apache Kafka is still the default for real-time streaming. Fundamentals such as data modeling, normalization, star schema, slowly changing dimensions. These things don't change because these are not tools. So remember at the start of the video, we talked about two different engineers, both with the 3 years of experience. One is getting interview calls every week, other one is stuck. So here's the real difference between them. It is not one of them is smarter or one is working more harder than other. So one always adapts to the new trends that are going in the market. So they keep the foundation initial storm, but also understand, okay, this is the new thing coming, this is the new thing coming. But let me just understand what it is. Instead of getting scared or overwhelmed by all of the new things that are coming in the market, they try to understand what it is and try to, include into that tech stack. But other one says that, oh, I'm not going to use these things. I will still do the ETL. I will still write the code by myself. I will still, focus on doing things the old way because I've been doing this from last 5 to 10 years. So I will still stay the same. I don't care about the market. So if you fall into the second category where you, want to stay stubborn, don't want to evolve, adapt, you will fall behind. I'm telling you, if you are in this bucket, I'll urge you to get out of it. Don't stay the same. Always keep learning new things. AI tools, keep learning. Data engineering things coming, understand that. Read blog, take new courses, understand all of these different things, build projects. This will help you to master new and different things and stay with the market trends, so you will be irreplaceable. If you are a beginner in your data engineering journey, or if you are someone who wants to upskill in data engineering and crack interviews, we have a complete data engineering platform available all in one place. You will get everything here. You will get 500 plus learning guides, 250 plus videos, 20 different end-to-end projects, coding platform like Lead Code to crack your interviews, data modeling playground, data architecture round, resume review. Everything you will get in the one place with the structured roadmap, so you can learn at one place, prepare for the interview and crack the interview. Everything at a single place. So if you are someone who is interested in upskilling or becoming a data engineer or staying with the trends, Data Vidya is a place you should always look for. We have a discount running. If you are interested, you can enroll into that. But if not, again, there are amazing free resources available online that will help you to stay up to date with the market. This was everything for this video. I hope this was valuable for you. If you have any video suggestions, do let me know and I will see you in the next video.